skipping down to 27 because I don't want to get into diagonals yet, but now we've established in the instructions that these are parallelograms. And parallelograms, remember, that means these two sides are parallel and these two sides are parallel. So this side is parallel to this side to its opposite side, and these opposite sides are also parallel. And the reason that matters is because if you can remember two parallel lines cut by a transversal from back in Math 2, then you're going to be able to use that knowledge to be able to solve this, hopefully a little more simply, because you're going to have to use those. But you can also learn the properties now if you don't remember. All right, so back to Math 2, these would be my parallel lines, and this would be my transversal, because this is where my 130 is. So since that's where my 130 is and where I need to solve is right below it, a throwback to Math 2, that means they're consecutive interior. And again, if that's not something you remember, don't stress it because you can memorize it now as quadrilateral parallelogram properties instead of worrying about then. So because they are side by side, they are not opposite, they are side by side. So adjacent angles, right? That means they have to equal 180. Consecutive interior angles are equal to 180. So if you remember corresponding, this one's 130, and then this would have been 130 as well, back from Math 2. But if not, again, your adjacent angles in a parallelogram are equal to 180. So that means 130 plus whatever our angle is equal to 180. So I'm going to subtract 130 from both sides, and x is going to equal 50. So this angle is 50 degrees because it is adjacent or consecutive interior to the 130. And if I have those two, I can actually work all the way around. That means these two, because these two lines are parallel and these two angles are adjacent, because it's a parallelogram, I know this is 130 degrees. The other way to memorize that is opposite angles, opposite of each other, are equal. So since this is 50, this is 50. This is another one of those styles of math where your work or thought process may not sound just like mine or your neighbor's, but as long as your answers are correct, that's all that matters. So in this case, angle CDE, so angle CDE or angle D is equal to 50 degrees. All right, so look at number 28. So again, if you remember what I just said, parallelogram, this one's not going to do line cut by a transversal very well because they're not on the same side and they're not on one transversal. So in this case, you're remembering that opposite angles in a parallelogram, that just means that both sets of opposite lines or sides are parallel. So opposite angles in a parallelogram are congruent. So because that's 70, I know this is 70. But if that's not something you can remember, and you can remember that adjacent angles are supplementary, supplementary meaning equal to 180 when you add them together, that means 70 plus something is equal to 180, minus 70 from both sides is 110, and then B is adjacent to C, so 180 minus 110 is 70. So again, it's whatever of the rules stick in your head the best. You can start and work your way all the way around, or again, you can remember that opposite angles in a parallelogram are congruent. So because A is 70 degrees, you know C is 70 degrees. All right, so now we're going to get into transversals. This is going to be good stuff. So transversals of a parallelogram. This is not drawn very well, but this is 29 in here. This is 70, and we want to know what U, V, T is. My biggest piece of advice for you, because they are not going to give them to you like this. They are going to have what is the value or what is the measure of angle U, V, T. Pick up a pen and trace out the letters they give you. And they go in that order. So you're going to put your pen on U, then you're going to hit V, and then you're going to hit T to make sure you are looking in the right place. Because again, we can find all four of them if we have one of them, but we want to make sure we're answering the question that they are asking. So U and V are adjacent angles or consecutive angles. They're on the same side. So if I was reading it in order, so that means U plus V is going to equal 180. So angle U plus angle V equals 180. So angle U is 70 degrees. And angle V is 29 plus something. So 29 degrees plus our unknown is equal to 180. So 70 plus 29 is going to be 99. We need to solve for x, so we're going to subtract 99 from both sides. And so x is going to equal 81 degrees. So that means UVT, not angle V, don't call it angle V, because there's two angle V's. UVT is 81. 81 degrees. All right, so coming over here to number 24. So again, not as much in this one, but trust me, in the future, so it's LMK that we're looking for. So angle LMK is what we're looking for. I know that L is consecutive to M or adjacent. They're side by side, right? So 94 plus this angle is going to give me our 180. So LMK is what we're looking for. So that's our x value. So 94. So L, we simplified it. L plus M equals 180. So the whole M. Plus we have 40 down there in M. Plus our unknown, because we don't know what LMK is. So 94 plus 40. It's going to give me 134. I'm going to check that and make sure, because I've been doing really bad math today, guys. So 134 plus x equals 180 degrees. To get x by itself, we're going to subtract 134 from 180, because it's attached by addition. So x equals 46. So our unknown, so angle LMK is equal to 46 degrees. KMN is equal to 40. So again, you can't call this angle M as a total unless you said that angle M is 86 degrees, which they may ask you as well. And that would be adding that 46 we just solved for and the 40 together. Now remember, if you have this side, you should have this side. One thing you are going to have to know from Math 2, or again, like pick up today and make sure you're tracking with us on this one, is if this is my parallel line and this is my parallel line and we have our diagonals here, this angle and this angle will always be congruent. So because that LMK is 46, then NKM is also going to be 46. So this is going to be 46. This is going to be 40. If these were our two parallel lines and this was my transversal because they're opposite. And then again, this is going to be 94. So opposite with no diagonal, just easy as can be. Opposite, when there's a diagonal, it's opposite the diagonal itself. So it's alternating, and the word for Math 2 was from the transversal. And this would be alternating interior in the event you do remember this conversation. Alternating or alternate interior, alternate, not ink, sorry, interior, because it is alternating, switching sides around your transversal. All right, guys, that's what we got so far.